What occurs when a chief executive seeks insurance at their own firm and catches wind of two agents scheming something that could unravel everything he has created? Wesley Ecker forged his insurance empire not by remaining confined to an office. It all began in a modest one-room office, equipped only with a used laptop and a simple plastic chair. 15 years later, he had expanded to 7 branches across 3 states, each managing a diverse range of services from automotive to health to home insurance. Yet, recently, an unsettling feeling lingered. Claims were dragging on. Complaints were seeping in, sufficient to raise an eyebrow, though not enough to sound the alarm, prompting him to take a moment's pause. He despised hearing things second-hand. They felt overly polished, almost scripted. There was an unmistakable sense of filtration in the atmosphere of the last few quarterly meetings. Every smile was exaggerated, every word chosen with precision. His instincts hinted at deeper layers to the narrative, prompting him to reach out to a former acquaintance in the realm of makeup and disguise consulting, a professional who had collaborated with law enforcement. In just a week, Wesley underwent a remarkable transformation. He bore no resemblance to the polished CEO showcased in business publications, with a graying beard, receding hairline, and a subtle southern drawl. He ambled, with a subtle limp, just enough to lend an air of authenticity. He would enter as Wayne Ellis, a 39-year-old independent photographer seeking health insurance. Blending in was effortless. There was no mention of his name on any signage. The majority of the recruitment was conducted via district managers. Had yet to personally encounter the team at the Nevada branch, particularly the one in Henderson that he intended to visit. The branch recorded the weakest client retention figures in the region. It also featured 2 of the top-performing agents based on metrics. Wesley scheduled an appointment using a pseudonym and arrived at the branch half an hour ahead of time. The structure exuded a contemporary vibe, yet it felt uninviting, as if there was an overzealous attempt to convey luxury. He entered the room, only to be met by a disinterested receptionist rhythmically tapping her nails against the desk. "Are you here early?" she inquired, her gaze fixed elsewhere. "Sure, I can hold." "On," Wesley responded. She gestured towards the waiting area. "Expect a call from them." Wesley settled onto the faux leather couch, his gaze sweeping across the room. A mother and her teenage son were seated opposite him. 2 gentlemen in polo shirts lingered by the coffee bar, engaged in hushed conversation. Wasn't attempting to listen in, yet the quality of their voices caught his attention. One mentioned that I informed her the premium would increase if she chose not to include the add-on. The other chuckled. Naturally, she made the purchase. The woman was unaware of the distinction between a deductible and a premium. Simple victory. Wesley gazed intently at the ground beneath him. He remained still. His breathing was barely audible. He simply absorbed the words. The first man spoke once more. "I've got 3 more just like her scheduled for today. I will achieve my bonus before Friday." "Wonderful. I'm considering advocating for the urgent enrollment line once more." Upon hearing that, individuals often feel a surge of anxiety. Wesley raised his gaze. The individual speaking stood tall and athletic, appearing to be in their early 30s. One name tag displayed Brent, while the other, belonging to the shorter guy with slicked hair and a cocky grin, read Jason. He had observed both names on the list of top performers from the last quarter. "I swear," Brent chuckled, "if that lady returns and figures out she didn't require half those extras, I'll simply claim it's company policy. Who will verify?" Jason inclined closer. "Leadership seems indifferent. As long as the figures shine, everything is fine." Wesley's hands balled into fists within the confines of his jacket pockets. His stomach churned with unease. There it stood. The figures looked promising, yet the moral standards were lacking. Yet he remained inactive. Not at this moment. A woman in her early 40s entered the lobby, a clipboard firmly grasped in her hand. Wayne Ellis. Wesley rose to his feet. "That's me," she said with a smile. "My name is Melody Fraser. Today I will be here to help you." He stepped into a glass-walled office after her. Her desk was immaculate, meticulously arranged. She presented him with water, inquired about his requirements, and elucidated each term with clarity. "You work as a freelancer full-time?" she inquired. "Indeed, primarily weddings and portraits," Wesley responded, maintaining his role. She nodded with a contemplative air. "The self-employed health plan is your most suitable choice. Allow me to guide you through the specifics to ensure you only invest in what is truly necessary." Wesley observed her intently. Her tone was sincere. She navigated the policies with precision, assessing his qualifications and noting the items that were unnecessary. "Dental care is optional unless you desire it. This isn't included in the package, so it would be an additional cost. Take it easy, she remarked. "I want you to feel satisfied with your choice, rather than look back with regret." He nearly lost sight of the fact that he was wearing a disguise. She brought to mind the days of his original team, prior to the expansion and the added corporate structure. Following the meeting, Melody presented him with a brochure along with her business card. "If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Understanding insurance can be quite perplexing. I'm glad to clarify anything you need." Wesley expressed his gratitude and made his exit. As he made his way to the exit, he encountered Brent and Jason once more. They shared a moment of joy, warm cups of coffee cradled in their hands. At that moment, he caught the sound. "Hey, what's going on with that woman, Melody?" Brent remarked. "Her sales are minimal, her figures are disappointing." Jason let out an exasperated sigh. "She spends too much time detailing everything, as if anyone is truly interested. She will depart by the end of the quarter." "Well," Brent murmured, "her performance is pulling our overall results down." Wesley remained motionless by the reception desk. The receptionist looked up, irritation evident on her face. "Are you all right?" He nodded with deliberation. "Indeed, I simply overlooked something." He pivoted, stepped outside, entered the rental car, and settled into silence. Melody, the sole individual who performed her duties with integrity, found herself under scrutiny for her honesty. While the two men profiting from the commissions thrived, they deceived customers and ridiculed the very concept of ethics. Wesley retrieved his phone and accessed the internal dashboard. 7 branches, 7 distinct cultures. He couldn't say for certain how many more Brents and Jasons existed, but he was determined to uncover the truth. This time, he was determined not to remain behind a desk, passively awaiting a report. He was stepping inside. Wesley chose not to return to his hotel that night. He chose to park a few blocks from the Henderson branch, sitting quietly in the car with the engine off and the windows slightly open. The atmosphere was infused with the scent of sun-warmed pavement and greasy meals. He gazed at the building's reflective facade, observing the final employees as they exited one by one. Brent and Jason strolled out side by side, chuckling over some shared joke, cups clutched in their hands. Melody emerged almost half an hour later, solitary, with a canvas tote slung over her shoulder and a stack of folders in hand. She strolled with her gaze lowered, keys held firmly in her grasp. She found herself alone with no one in sight to welcome her. There were no farewells spoken. Wesley reclined, his jaw tight with tension. His company was losing its integrity, and he had allowed it to occur. The following morning he made his way to the Las Vegas regional office. Though he was still known as Wayne Ellis in official circles, he had arranged a meeting with the branch auditor under the guise of a vendor review. He remained unrecognized beneath the guise. The auditor, an exacting individual named Vernon, encountered him in a small, cluttered back office, adorned with spreadsheets affixed to corkboards. Wesley maintained a sharp focus on his inquiries. "Have there been any warning signs from Henderson?" he inquired. Vernon polished his glasses with his tie. "Not regarding figures. Their conversion rates rank among the highest in the state. The efficiency metrics are impressive. Some turnover occurred, but it's nothing out of the ordinary." "What are the conversion rates?" Wesley echoed. "The proportion of walk-in customers who ultimately purchase a policy." "Henderson is currently at 78%. The state average stands at 53%, Wesley acknowledged with a slow nod. As for the refund requests, Vernon retrieved a file from the cabinet and began to sift through its contents. They are a bit above the norm, but only after the initial 30 days, indicating that the commission has already been established. Many customers tend to back off once they become aware of the details hidden in the fine print. Without uttering a word, he simply expressed his gratitude to Vernon for the time spent and departed. That afternoon, he made his way back to the Henderson office. This time, he entered not as a patron. He lingered by the loading entrance until a delivery van arrived, then quietly joined the driver, clutching a box of promotional materials he had brought along. The break room was permeated by the acrid scent of scorched coffee mingling with the unmistakable aroma of reheated noodles. He discovered Melody at a corner table, savoring yogurt while poring over a client folder. She glanced up as he entered. "Wayne, I have a couple more inquiries," he mentioned. "They mentioned you were taking a break," and she acknowledged this with a nod, gesturing towards the chair opposite her. "Absolutely." With just 10 minutes to spare, he took a seat and surveyed his surroundings. The walls stood empty, save for a worn poster detailing enrollment deadlines. The refrigerator hummed gently. "You consistently push through your breaks?" he inquired. She offered a subtle smile. "Only when I'm lagging." "How frequently does that occur?" "Quite frequently." He inclined, his body ever so slightly. "Insufficient assistance, not the appropriate type of assistance," she remarked, her tone measured, indicating she paused to collect her thoughts. "Several of the agents here prioritize quick sales over doing it the right way. When clients return, feeling perplexed or irritated, I often find myself stepping in to resolve the situation. That prolongs the process." Wesley maintained a calm and even tone. "And the leadership is aware. They understand the figures. It seems they don't delve very far." He shifted the topic. She had always dreamed of a career in insurance. Her gaze lifted momentarily. "No, I worked as a paralegal for 11 years, but my firm underwent downsizing. I sought a sense of stability, a role that would allow me to assist others." This seemed logical. "Back then, do you still feel that way?" She paused. "I make an effort. Yet it becomes challenging to maintain a sense of satisfaction in your efforts when you find yourself adhering to principles that others appear indifferent to," he acknowledged with a slow nod. "What draws you to this place?" "My child." She gazed at her yogurt. At the age of 12, he faces the challenges of juvenile arthritis and requires ongoing treatment. This position offers excellent benefits. I cannot afford to lose it." Wesley remained silent. He was unable to. He rose gradually and expressed his gratitude to her once more. Over the course of the next 3 days, he delved further into the depths. He made his way to 2 additional branches using the same alias, one located in Reno and the other in Summerlin. Both performed with greater clarity than Henderson. The representatives there dedicated time to their clients. There were no questionable discussions, no forceful promotions. The team put in great effort, yet they appeared untroubled. In Summerlin, a junior agent even declined a sale on record, explaining to a puzzled client that the plan wasn't a good fit for them. It was evident now that Henderson wasn't shattered by the system. It had fallen apart due to the leadership in place, and by Friday, Wesley made his way back to Henderson. This time, not as Wayne, he entered just after lunch, clean-shaven, hair slicked back, charcoal suit impeccably pressed. The receptionist blinked twice, a look of bewilderment crossing her face. Before she had the chance to speak, he moved past her into the bullpen, where phones fell silent and keyboards hesitated. A handful of agents looked up, their expressions puzzled. Brent emerged from his office, a strained smile plastered across his features. "May I assist you, sir?" Wesley came to a halt before him. "Please assemble your team in the conference room." At that moment, Jason approached, his brow furrowed in concern. "Is there an issue?" Wesley faced him, his tone steady. "It would be beneficial for you to attend the meeting as well. In just 10 minutes. The staff gathered around the long table, taking their seats with a sense of purpose. Wesley stood at the forefront, arms crossed. "I'm Wesley Ecker," he declared. "As the founder and CEO, I've visited this office 3 times this week, not in my usual capacity, but as a customer." The atmosphere grew tense. "I encountered information that was meant to remain hidden and witnessed. Events that contradict our principles." Brent reclined, arms folded across his chest. With all due respect, sir, we achieved our objectives, each quarter. But at what price? Wesley inquired, his gaze fixed intently on him. How many customers were misled by you? What is the number of policies that were sold due to fear or confusion? Jason began to speak, but Wesley interrupted him. All calls have undergone thorough review. Each request for a refund. All grievances. Noted and documented. I also had a conversation with Melody, the sole person here who appears to grasp the true essence of this role. Melody gazed downward, taken aback. She was unaware. With immediate effect, Wesley continued, Brent and Jason, you are temporarily relieved of your duties while we conduct an investigation. Your access has been revoked. You will be escorted out by security. Brent rose to his feet. Surely you must be joking. Wesley stated with utmost seriousness, You violated the trust of our clients and compromised the integrity of this company. Such behavior is not acknowledged in this space. A moment later, security slipped in quietly. Brent and Jason were released in silence. Wesley faced the team once more. An audit of this office is scheduled to take place within the next 60 days. All agents will undergo retraining. All clients have been reached out to. He cast his gaze upon Melody. You will help with the transition. You will possess the power and remuneration to accomplish that. She gazed at him, searching for the right words. I'm at a loss for words. Begin with an affirmative. She inclined her head with deliberation. Absolutely. Wesley exited the room, disregarding any expectation for applause. There was nothing. Only quietude. The kind that arrives when reality strikes with an unexpected force. The afternoon sun blazed relentlessly upon the sidewalk. Wesley remained oblivious. He entered the vehicle and called his assistant. I desire audits to be conducted across all branches without prior notice, and I want the auditors to be rotated so that no one is aware of who will be arriving. Got it, she responded. He ended the call and drove in silence. The windows rolled down. He hadn't created this company to be the largest. He crafted it to be unparalleled. It was now essential to ensure it met those expectations, even if it meant personally visiting every branch. The Monday following the suspension, the Henderson branch commenced with a fresh cadence. Silence reigned, devoid of any announcements or banners. Only silence prevails, devoid of boisterous laughter by the coffee bar, and free from casual boasts echoing through the corridors. The atmosphere had transformed in a manner that required no elaboration. Wesley showed up ahead of schedule, without any prior notice. He parked in the back lot, wearing simple slacks and a navy pullover, without a tie. He had no laptop, no assistant. By his side, only a modest notepad and a pen in hand. On this occasion, he entered through the employee entrance. At the front desk, a young temp named Carla was stationed, her gaze barely lifting as he walked by. Melody sat at her desk, headset in place, articulating the intricacies of provider networks to a client. Her tone was steady, deliberate, yet intent. She failed to notice him as he strolled by. Wesley stepped into the side conference room, the one with the glass door that remained untouched, unless absolutely necessary. He placed his notepad aside and paused, anticipation hanging in the air. By 9:30, the remaining team members gradually arrived. The absence of Brent and Jason made the office feel more subdued, yet it also resulted in a noticeable decrease in pace. By mid-morning, the call queue started to swell. Carla sought Melody's assistance on 2 occasions for inquiries that eluded her understanding. The inexperienced agents supported one another, poring over policy manuals, pausing before dispatching quotes. Wesley watched quietly, taking note of every hesitation and pause. After completing her 3rd call in succession, Melody rose and gently rolled her shoulders. Her face appeared ashen and taut around the jawline. Wesley exited the room. Melody, he murmured, maintaining a quiet tone, take 10 minutes. I'd love to have a conversation with you. She nodded, massaged her temples, and stepped in after him. He motioned toward the chair opposite him. You are currently handling the responsibilities of 3 individuals. What's the duration you can maintain that? She settled down gradually. I'm uncertain. I'm working to maintain the team's concentration. They feel anxious. Many of them were brought on by Brent. Were they primarily trained by him as well? He guided them through the scripts, instructed them on swift closing techniques with limited focus on compliance. Wesley jotted down a note in his pad. Are any of them trustworthy? In your eyes, several. A man named Lewis exists. He recently embarked on this journey just 2 months back. He approaches his work with care, taking his time with quotes, yet he continues to navigate the systems with a sense of growth. How does management fit into the picture? Someone take the initiative. She paused. Laurie has been making an effort. She held the position of office coordinator. While she may lack a license, her organizational skills are impressive. She commands attention. Is she seeking additional responsibility? It seems she may be hesitant to enter a spotlight that doesn't suit her. Wesley reclined. We will provide her with a framework, not merely power. I will be bringing in a compliance lead from Summerlin to provide support for the next 60 days. Melody let out a slow breath. That would be beneficial. He shut the notepad. You're not required to handle this by yourself. I have arrived. We will approach this with precision and care. She rose to her feet. I will maintain my position until assistance comes. He had no use for a vow. Last week had revealed more than enough to him. She would take the necessary actions. Once she departed, Wesley reached out to the HR director personally and directed that a compliance officer named Terry be transferred from Summerlin to Henderson for a temporary assignment. Subsequently, he contacted the internal training department. He sought a comprehensive curriculum overhaul focused on ethical sales practices, including a dedicated module addressing customer vulnerability. By noon, he returned to the bullpen. Lewis, he inquired. A young man sporting thick glasses and a headset rose to his feet with urgency. Absolutely, sir. Could you spare a moment? Lewis trailed behind him into the side room, his eyes filled with wonder. It has been 2 months since you arrived. What was the extent of your training prior to beginning to take calls? 3 days. The initial 2 were conducted through online modules. Then Brent handed me a script binder. Has anyone discussed the legal requirements with you? Lewis gave a slight shake of his head. Not quite. I attempted to replicate the actions I observed from Melody. Her explanations are always more lucid. Have you experienced a push to expedite sales? Lewis paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind. Brent often remarked that we were missing out on opportunities if we didn't wrap things up in under 15 minutes. Wesley acknowledged with a nod. This is a one-time occurrence. Beginning tomorrow, you will be taken off the phones for a period of 3 days. You will observe Terry from compliance. Understand the reasoning that underpins the policies. Lewis appeared utterly bewildered. I believed I was facing a predicament. Wesley replied with a firm no. You embody what lies ahead. I simply want to ensure that you're ready. As Lewis departed, Wesley resumed his position in the conference room. He remained in the office that day. He lingered until the phone quieted, until Melody ultimately signed off her computer just after 6. As she collected her belongings, Wesley approached her in the lobby. He informed me that I would be transitioning to a district training role. For the upcoming quarter, we will collaborate closely together. We will completely overhaul the orientation program. She blinked. What becomes of my clients? They will be assigned to an individual who is prepared. You have the opportunity to rise to the occasion. She glanced at her tote, fiddling with the strap. This all took me by surprise. Wesley replied, I didn't either. However, we cannot mend flawed systems by remaining stagnant. That evening he chose not to return home. He made his way to the Las Vegas regional office once more, this time intending to have a conversation with Vernon after hours. As Wesley stepped into the office, he requested a comprehensive list of all agents in the Southwest region who were brought on board through Brent's referral. Vernon lifted his gaze from the screen. It appears we have quite an extensive list ahead. Of us, begin with those that have experienced first-year refund rates exceeding 20%. Vernon accessed a dashboard and started sifting through the data. He inquired cautiously if you wished to eliminate them all. No, Wesley replied. I aim to guide those who are open to learning, but for those who intentionally deceived customers, their time is up. Vernon shifted his spectacles. Anticipate some resistance from a few of the senior partners. Brent delivered an impressive amount of volume. "I'm not concerned with quantity if it's founded on deception." He leaned forward over the desk, gaze fixed. "I'm not tidying up just to put on a show. I'm undertaking this because I overlooked the fact that figures can be deceptive. I refuse to let that slip from my memory once more." During that week, the inaugural compliance audit commenced in Henderson. Terry slipped in unobtrusively, settled into the back office and started to sift through the call recordings. In just a few days, 3 additional agents were removed from the floor. One for misrepresenting plan coverage, another for selectively quoting premiums, and the third for forging a signature on a renewal form. They were not dismissed right away. Every individual underwent an interview, and their calls were thoroughly examined. Only one acknowledged their mistake and agreed to undergo retraining. The remaining 2 were released. Wesley refrained from delivering speeches. He refrained from composing memos. He arrived. Each morning that week he showed up ahead of the receptionist. He settled into the bullpen with a legal pad in hand, attuned to the calls streaming through a shared monitor. Upon receiving a call back from a perplexed policyholder, he identified the source of the issue to be the originating agent. He pointed out when the explanation lacked clarity. Should it have been deceptive, he took it to the next level. By Friday, the atmosphere had transformed, but not due to fear among the people. Feeling the weight of acknowledgement in the air, Laurie made her way to him by the coffee station as the day drew to a close. "The client callback list has been reorganized," she mentioned. "Prioritize the accounts that pose the highest risk." "I began documenting frequent issues in a shared document." Wesley acknowledged with a nod. "Are you aiming to take on the role of office lead?" She crossed her arms. "I seek an individual in that position who approaches it with genuine commitment, rather than viewing it as merely a stepping stone to advancement." "Excellent, as I provide no easy paths, only accountability." She nodded decisively. "Absolutely, count me in." He presented her with a folder. "You will be reporting directly to Melody until further notice." As the office gradually cleared, Wesley lingered by the window, gazing out at the parking lot. The sun sank behind the strip malls, enveloping the building in elongated shadows. He was aware that there remained additional tasks to address, additional divisions, alternative representatives. Yet, after what seemed like an eternity, the path ahead finally felt aligned. Not due to statistics, but because individuals ceased glancing back and began connecting with one another directly. 3 weeks post-confrontation, Henderson's branch was operational, though still lacking stability. The remaining team members were feeling the strain, and each workspace was laden with the burden of unfinished tasks. Clients continued to reach out, perplexed by outdated quotes, while the retraining modules had completely removed 2 agents from the floor. It may not have been sustainable, yet it was essential. Wesley felt the weight of the growing tension. He noticed it in the manner Lewis rubbed his eyes between calls, in the way Laurie lingered after closing to double-check the call logs. Even Melody, now stationed at the district office, had begun dispatching emails in the late hours of the night. She was completely overhauling the onboarding curriculum and meticulously reviewing recorded calls from various branches, all while assisting the compliance lead on site. Wesley refrained from stepping in unless he was specifically invited to do so. He assessed the situation, took note, and made adjustments to resources as necessary. Yet his mere presence had transformed something not only within Henderson, but throughout the entire region. The news had circulated. Other branches had started to tighten their protocols independently, preparing for similar scrutiny. Yet, it fell short. He sought resolution. Not for his own sake, but for those who had borne the weight of leadership failures. He arrived early at the Summerlin office one morning, where Terry had come back after her 2-week rotation. She was already inside, sifting through a hefty pile of internal reports. "I would like to conduct a formal review of all agents trained under the incentive structure implemented by Brent," Wesley stated as he stepped into her office. Terry continued without hesitation. 19 were identified with comparable patterns. The majority remain engaged. 4 have already sought reassignment to evade compliance interviews. Allow the transfers, Wesley suggested, but hold back their commissions until the account audits are finalized. Terry gave a single nod. Are you intending to share this with everyone involved? An all-hands call is scheduled for next Monday. No embellishments, only the truth. She gazed upward. That will certainly shake up some district leaders. That's the essence, Wesley remarked. The absence of words allowed this to spiral out of control. As the day wore on, he made his way back to Henderson. He chose not to enter. He lingered in the parking lot, anticipating Melody's arrival for the planned site visit. She emerged from her vehicle, a binder secured under one arm, her hair drawn back in a sleek knot, her expression a mystery. I require 10 minutes before you head in, Wesley stated, positioned by the curb. She tightened the strap on her bag. Is there an issue? No, but something is past due. He presented her with a sealed envelope. Inside was an official promotion letter, signed by him, detailing a revised compensation package and a new title, Regional Ethics and Training Director. Her expression remained unchanged at first. She read the letter twice, then meticulously folded it and slipped it back into the envelope. I never imagined this would occur, she remarked. Your achievement was evident long before I was aware of who you were. She gave a single nod, remaining silent. You will have complete control over redefining our training processes, our auditing methods, and our approach to recertification. I'm here to back it, but the direction is in your hands. Melody cast a glance at the structure looming behind him. A great deal remains unresolved. Indeed, Wesley remarked. But now it's entrusted to someone who understands how to resolve it thoroughly and effectively. She failed to express her gratitude to him. She strode past him, making her way to the door with quick, determined steps. Laurie was guiding two new hires through the onboarding packets. One of them had been brought on board through Melody's updated hiring standards. No sales experience required, but a solid history in non-profit client services. A different opportunity arose from a community college job board suggested by a previous client. Wesley observed Laurie as she detailed the updated escalation process, highlighting the newly introduced tracking system for client inquiries that required more than a single call to address. It had its rough edges, yet it was undeniably authentic. That afternoon, Lewis took a break from the phones, joining Terry in the back office to meticulously go through a side-by-side review of customer call transcripts. His posture had improved significantly compared to 2 weeks prior. He inquired, thoughtfully recorded details meticulously, took a moment to reflect when clarity was lacking, and refrained from hastily assuming comprehension. At 3 o'clock, Melody gathered the team in the break room for a detailed discussion on the policy. It was casual, without a projector or handouts, just one printed case file circulated among us. She guided them through each mistake in the initial quote, then illustrated how the client's true requirements had been overlooked. She never elevated her tone. She never condescended to anyone. Wesley rested against the doorframe, his arms crossed thoughtfully. Following the session, Melody approached him. They remain uncertain, she remarked. That's great, he responded. Hesitation indicates contemplation. She expressed a desire for additional individuals, not only here but throughout the region. To restore trust, we must avoid the pitfalls of exhaustion, Wesley acknowledged. A new recruitment track is set to launch next quarter. For the initial 6 months, there will be no commissions. Only base pay and ethics training will be provided. She contemplated the idea of you contributing to the design. Applicants will slip through your fingers. I have no interest in those who are only here for the commissions. The subsequent Monday, Wesley found himself in a conference room at headquarters. The all-hands call commenced promptly at 9. Each branch was recorded, devices turned off, sound silenced. Only a series of names displayed on a screen. Wesley conveyed his message with clarity, devoid of any slides or background music. I established this company with the conviction that trust must be cultivated through each individual conversation. At some point, we allowed the figures to take center stage in the narrative, yet it is the people who reveal the truth, not the numbers. He paused. Certain offices implemented policies that created confusion for customers. Certain agents placed greater importance on bonuses than on providing quality service. I take full responsibility for that, and I'm working to make it right. He detailed the new audit procedure and the ethics-focused recruitment pathway. The Commission releases the pending compliance clearance. He appointed the new regional director, outlined her duties, and clarified the reasons for the role's emergence at this time when it had not been necessary previously. He stated that this isn't about inflicting punishment on individuals. It's about safeguarding those who act with integrity. He concluded the call in silence, devoid of any applause or questions. That afternoon, Melody set about gathering her regional training team. She sought agents from smaller branches known for their impressive client retention and minimal refund rates. She sought not the loudest voices, but those who had built trust quietly in Henderson. Laurie completed the initial round of internal promotions for the support team. Lewis made his way back to the phone floor, this time bearing a new title, Entry-Level Compliance Liaison. His role extended beyond mere sales. It involved identifying any discrepancies and ensuring they were thoroughly examined. As the month drew to a close, refund requests from Henderson saw a significant decline, nearly halving in number. Scores for customer follow-up started to rise. It may not have been flawless, but it was sincere. After that, Wesley devoted less time to the branches, not due to a waning interest, but because he had transcended the need to surprise others to uncover the truth. He had witnessed the decay, excavated it, and replaced it with something more resilient, neither a script nor a slogan. Yet individuals who ultimately grasped that acting with integrity transcended mere profit. It was the sole enterprise,